Hello everybody, this is Cool Silver Wolf. It's been a while, but today I'd like to have you on a ride along. We are going to be testing the battery capacity of Midnight Glitch, my Model 3. Last update, it's been a while, like I said. It has now been over a year since I've had my Tesla Model 3 Midnight Glitch. So right now I do have over 31,000 miles on the vehicle. And I've noticed a little bit of degradation on the battery, and it's been noticed by a couple other people that follow at least Bjorn and possibly others on YouTube, but at least Bjorn, that he had noticed some loss of capacity throughout the summer and after a few updates some time ago. And he just recently did another test of his battery capacity. Essentially, the C, running it from 100% down to as close to the zero as possible, or at least down to the last, 5 to 10 miles. See exactly how much battery is left, and how much he used. Essentially, it comes down to running at a consistent speed, or as much as possible, keeping the AC off, and basically driving it up until the point where you have to stop and charge. But it'll give you the ability to go through and see exactly what your battery is able to do in your Tesla Model 3 or any EV by doing this method. And this is something others have done and tested. Bjorn has basically documented every EV he's ever tested using this method, as well as a few other range tests that he does at varying speeds for consumption. So, onward with this. I'm going to go ahead and show you the stats here of what we're looking at as far as today, the weather, and be able to show you exactly what I'm doing, and get on the road and see how this does. So charging is not yet stopped. It just went from 99% to 100% on my screen here. You can still see it's charging at about 4 kilowatt on the screen. Say now it's back down to 99%, but it is 11:30. It's 68 degrees outside, or at least here in my garage. I've had the door open for last 15 minutes or so. Back to 100, starting to ramp down. So any minute it'll say charge complete here. But I'm going through, taking a look. I do have some degradation on my battery as it is now. I started out with 310 exactly when I got the vehicle. It might have been a little bit over. But I didn't have any drop in range up until roughly about mid-spring. And so obviously I've lost about 9 miles of range. Sometimes it's 10 because of the variance of the battery management system, and how well the cells do. Sometimes they charge a little bit better or less, and it calculates a little bit different. So I chalk that up to maybe rounding. Now I did happen to kind of charge up to 100% yesterday a little bit, and I did drive around this weekend, so I was able to get a good balance, I think, on my battery. So it's actually showing 302 now, which yesterday it was roughly about 300, 301. So maybe with the kind of running it down and charging it back up here, it's balanced a little bit. but we'll be able to see that full full usage of the battery. So going through and taking a look here, just to document, I have 31,485 miles on my odometer, which basically I've kept this one trip meter running since the life of the car. That's over 8 megawatts of power, and average 264 watt hours per mile, which is actually just, I believe, above rated range. So during the summer I do better. During the winter it drops. Of course, with heat, the air is more dense. Snow on the roads, it's usually more wet with salt as well. So rolling resistance, all that factored in over the course of basically a year and about a month now. That's what I've been looking at. So this car has been very well, very good to me, and I really enjoy driving it, and I do enjoy sharing it. I just haven't been able to here lately as much as I liked. Now going through here, I pre-populated everything into a better route planner, basically to route out and to kind of plan out as best as possible, because I will be getting kind of low on my range. So starting off, I'll be driving here across 70, going south down to Cincinnati, cutting out around the north 275 outer belt, and back up to Dayton, cut across, and the last bit here I'll be doing a short kind of a loop back and forth. So basically I'm going to go down to almost near the Grove City supercharger, and then there's other chargers along the way, high powered chargers that I can use, Chatamo, with the adapter. That's kind of, there's another one here, it's a Electrify America. There's at least one or two other EVgo Chatamo charging stations up this way, and then eventually I'll be getting to the Dublin supercharger here, and roughly it's estimating about 6%, so that's about correct. So trying to move in closer here, so that's roughly about 4.5 hours. It's probably going to be closer to 5 because the way I drive, and I'm going to try to be consistent on speed, but and that's going to be roughly about 270 miles. But now it give me a buffer room, and I can kind of figure the rest up from there. So it is now 12:05. Again, it's 67 degrees outside. I just got my charging complete. The car is reporting to me that I have 304 miles of range. I do have my trip reset here, so I'll be able to see the kilowatt hours I've used, my efficiency, and that's from earlier, but from last charge, my trip meter here, I'll be able to see how much battery capacity I actually got. So see you on the road. So just an update so far here. I've gone 56 miles, 14 kilowatt hours used, 251 watt hours per mile, which is not bad. Projecting roughly about 247 miles, so it was about 280 earlier. But we had a couple of hills and some had to get around some other people that were not as great on merging in traffic. But I'm on autopilot. I'm driving down to Cincinnati here. I've actually got it projecting now over 50%, more than what I originally had projected when I first started the trip here. So, still on the first, I would say quarter of a leg on this battery capacity test on Model 3, Midnight Glitch. So, just enjoying the scenery. Got kind of a live stream set up, kind of view the screen, although it's kind of been overheating and a bit of a glare. So, sorry if the stream's not up to quality here, but that's what I got so far. We'll see what we actually get in results. That's the biggest thing, is, you know, getting this test done and making sure we got all the numbers we need. We made it basically a third way so far. 100 miles, 24 kilowatt hours, which is, I'm sitting at 65% on my battery left. 242 watt hours per mile. Wow, that's pretty good for this time of year, especially with all the crosswind I'm getting. So, estimating down to Cincinnati, I'm still roughly about 10% more than what I originally estimated. So, I got a little ways more to go to there, and I can start my turn back up north, and I'll still have crosswind for a little while. And but I've been running with the AC off, and it's been getting warm, and I moved my phone because I was trying to get out of the sun, but it still hasn't been cool enough to really help. But just bunch of nice fields, farmers getting them all cleared out, and I'm just testing my car. So I got some music going, rocking along, still doing the stream. It's been getting pretty warm in here, so I've had to cycle the windows on and off. But I forgot to mention it earlier. For those of you that are not in the U.S., so I got about 300 kilometers left, and it's 19 degrees Celsius, 188 miles, 65 degrees. But I'm gonna go and turn around here probably within the next 15 miles, and I'll head west, and then I'll head north, and that'll get the heat off of me through this windshield. It's 111 miles, 27 kilowatt hours, 239 watt hours per mile. So it's dropping still. Awesome. Oh yes, nice cool drive. Almost 140 miles now. It's about 2 hours on the road. 53%. Let's see, that's 258 kilometers. Or 161 miles left. Think I'll make it? I think I might. I'm here just 10 minutes till 3 hours driving, 180 miles on the trip. I'm only at 40%. Only at 40%. So I've gone at least 180 miles and 40%. That's impressive. It is a long-range battery, so 233 watt-hours per mile, so I've gotten a little bit better, but only because traffic has been up and down and around and whatever else. 42 kilowatt hours. So roughly, if 40 kilowatt hours is about 60%. And my phone goes. So yeah, basically that's about the 75 kilowatt hour. So that's looking like it's well balanced. It looks like I'm gonna have my full range. It's just that I needed to go through and charge to 100% for a while to, or at least a couple times to kind of rebalance everything. So, do this again here. 120 miles plus the 182. So that's, yeah, about 300 miles. So that's definitely right on cue. I mean, looks like it's estimating right. I really don't know any other way to say it, but I mean, I do like the range estimates that Tesla provides, because more often than not, I end up with more charge than I expect when I get to a supercharger. And even with an average of well, this is saying over the last 30 miles, I averaged 214 watt-hours per mile, and I'm getting rocks, bits of crap on it. Thanks, truck. But this is saying I can go another 137, almost 140 miles. So that's even 20 miles more than the regular estimate here. I'm really happy with this car. Even after a year, over 30,000 miles on it, I've only had roughly about 2 to 3% degradation from what I can tell. It does what it's supposed to, and I foresee seeing this car at least a good 5 to 8 years, maybe 10 years. That's if I don't trade up to another one. Check this out. Basically, I've driven about 3.5 hours. It's about 230 miles so far. 50 kilowatt hours used, 222 watt hours per mile. Wow. Based on the last 30 miles, I'm averaged actually 175 watt hours per mile. That's insane. That's like way below the average. And this is actually saying 119 miles projected range at 28%. So, say overall 84 miles projected. With the normal, but 120 miles additional range. I mean, that's a lot. I'm not sure, but I know I'm not gonna get that 120, especially when I speed back up out of this construction. But 84 miles to go. I've already driven 3.5 hours. I'm roughly about 5 to 6 miles outside of the 270 loop, and I'll be looping back and forth on this west side because there's a number of charging options over there if I get too low. New update, it is almost 4 hours. 252 miles so far, an average of 219 hours per mile. Very nice. That's about 56 kilowatt hours. This says I can do another 62. I'm taking 20 mile loops, so we'll see. Basically, I'm gonna loop once more and see how it goes. So I'm gonna take about 20 mile loops. I'm heading towards the Dublin Supercharger. We're gonna have to see how this goes here. So 20 miles down, and it looks like just hit below 20% because now it's yellow. Yeah, 99 kilometers left. 99 kilometers, but the problem's not mine. Yep, 20% now. So I have not seen a power limit. I'd spent that probably about 10%. Then I'll have to really think about getting to a charger here soon. So, like I said, there's a couple. I'll just have to pick one, and if I have to bail early, I will. So another good reason why to have multiple chargers that you can bail out to. This says I have 9% when I'm going to get to Grove City Supercharger. However, there have been some people that end up getting shutdowns like at 10% or below. So far I haven't had any issues with that, but I'm watching out for a power limit, and once that happens, there's not much I'm going to be able to really do here.
Keep left to stay on Interstate 270 south towards Cincinnati.
Beyond just finding another charger and get to it. Alright, now we start the scary stuff. At least 10%. I'm going to the Electrify America station. I got 7% on arrival, or so it says. I'm down to 9% now. It's about 8 miles away. So, can I break this 300 number? I'm down to 292. Am I going to get that 300 miles? Or 304? Or something better? 216 watt-hours per mile. I've used 63 kilowatt hours. This is where I'm kind of getting close to that buffer, and I'm hopefully not going to see a huge drop in power before I get there. Maybe a little bit, but hopefully not a whole lot. We'll see. We got just about 8 miles, 7 miles. So can we hit that 300 number? That would be cool. So I finally made it here to the Electrify America station. I got 302 miles, 65 kilowatt hours used, 215 watt hours per mile, over the course of 5 hours and 5 minutes. I had 21 miles left with a small power limit. In kilometers, that's 34 kilometers left and 7%. So I'm going to go ahead and get plugged in. I'll show you that here. Here at the Electrify America station, the one thing I hate about these stations, they have these short cables. They have the stalls like this where you pull in, but you have these short cables. So if you park with the Model 3 or any Tesla, the charge port's here. The charge port's open, as you can see right there. Now, if you take these, you need an adapter. They'll plug in if you plug in this way, but you can't wrap it around your car. It won't. There's no ability. There's no way that you're going to be able to wrap this around your car. Now, another great thing about the Electrify America is you can use the app to start charging. So first you got to plug in. Now I have the CHAdeMO adapter. So that's CHAdeMO. That's the Tesla end. So now that I got this cable connected, big heavy thing, the adapter's not light either. Now I can go through, open my charge port, plug it in, and now it's saying I can pay by credit card or mobile wallet. What I'm going to do though, that is not where I am at. There we go. I'm going to use the app. So, CHAdeMO. Just going to swipe to start charging because I've already signed up. Now this is going to be the 1 to 75 kilowatt hour, so it's going to be 21 cents per minute. Processing authorized. And click. There we go. Saying $1 session fee, 21 cents a minute, continue. Alright. Here's the charging screen on the app. They have a very nice display. Charging time, dollar, how much energy, state of charge. I got 2:53 minutes till 80%. So there we go, I'm charging. If they have any questions, it's going to take about an hour to get to 100%. I don't need that. Even at 80%, it's about a half an hour. Which I'm getting 42 kilowatt off this CHAdeMO adapter, which is not bad at all. It's definitely not a supercharger, but it's not bad. So if you do have any questions, leave me comments below. I'm glad you were able to kind of follow along with me and see what my capacity was going to be on this battery. Again, I used 65 kilowatt hours on the 300-mile trip. I had 21 miles left, theoretical, that I could have driven. Now, you would have been limping around after probably half of that. So the last 10 miles, you probably wouldn't be on the highway. You'll probably be trying to drive back roads to get to a charger, and it still tries to limit you long before that. So with the 215 watt hour per mile usage, that's actually very low. So if you were in winter, you probably would have been down to estimating maybe that 8-mile mark. So I was driving pretty efficiently throughout this entire trip. Any other time, I wouldn't have gotten as much as what I did. You have to be mindful. You can really save a lot of energy and be able to get that full range of mileage if you really needed to. But you gotta be careful, because if your battery's not balanced, it wasn't before, because it gave me, or it estimated about 4 miles more range than it did a couple days ago. Now I know that's not a lot, but it can be if you need it. And with the unbalanced battery, it could shut down basically at any point once it gets at least below 10%. Now, I don't typically run it down below 10% unless I'm on like a long weekend trip, and I just need to get home. I've never really been below 5%. And that's where it even gets more sketchy. So that's something that you really need to pay attention to with any EV, and every EV is different. So some will limit your power even at like 20%. A lot of those EVs have much smaller battery packs, so 20% would probably of their battery pack would probably be about 5. Just as an example, a Leaf versus a Tesla long range battery. Now, standard range, it might be a little bit different. So, but overall, again, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll try to answer. But so far, to me, it doesn't seem like my battery has any kind of bottom end limit. I want to thank you all. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a excellent and wonderful day.